Eleanor Hayes had spent her life in the shadow of numbers. As a certified public accountant for over 3 decades, she had audited multinational corporations, balanced budgets that could make or break empires, and ensured that every debit had its credit. Retirement hadn't dulled her edge. It had simply shifted her focus from boardrooms to her modest bungalow in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. At 68, her days were a comfortable routine: morning coffee while watching the rain streak the windows, tending to her herb garden when the weather allowed, and meticulously tracking her investments on a spreadsheet that she updated weekly. Seattle's perpetual drizzle suited her. It was predictable, like a well-maintained ledger. But life, as Eleanor knew from years of poring over financial statements, often hid discrepancies in the fine print. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon in early fall, when the leaves were turning a muted orange against the gray sky. Her son, Michael, sounded exhausted, his voice crackling over the line like static from a bad connection. "Mom, we need to talk. Can Lila and I come over tonight? It's about the company." "Of course, dear," Eleanor replied, her heart sinking a little. Michael was her only child, born late in her marriage to Tom, who had passed away from a heart attack 10 years earlier. Michael had inherited his father's ingenuity and his mother's analytical mind. He'd studied computer science at the University of Washington, then launched Innovatech Solutions, a startup specializing in AI-powered cybersecurity software. It was the kind of venture that thrilled investors in Silicon Valley, but struggled in the volatile tech market of the Pacific Northwest. Lila, his wife of 3 years, was the CFO, a sharp, ambitious woman with an MBA from Stanford. Together, they were a power couple, or so it seemed. Eleanor prepared dinner with care. Pot roast simmered in red wine, roasted vegetables from her garden, and apple pie for dessert. The aroma filled the house, masking the faint mustiness that came with living alone. When Michael and Lila arrived, the rain had picked up, drumming a steady rhythm on the roof. Michael hugged her tightly, his coat damp. "Thanks for having us, Mom." Lila smiled, handing over a bottle of Cabernet. "You always make the best meals, Eleanor. It's a treat after office food." They ate in the dining room, surrounded by framed photos of family vacations and Michael's childhood trophies. Conversation was light at first, weather, the Seahawks' latest game, but Eleanor sensed the tension. Finally, Michael set down his fork. "Mom, Innovatech is in trouble. We've got a huge opportunity, a contract with a defense firm for our AI security suite. It could put us on the map, maybe even lead to an IPO. But we need bridge funding to scale up development and hire more engineers. Investors are skittish with the economy like this." Eleanor nodded, her accountant's instincts kicking in. "How much are you short?" $200,000, Lila said smoothly, her eyes meeting Eleanor's with unwavering confidence. She was beautiful, with sleek black hair and a wardrobe that screamed executive chic. "It's not a loan, Eleanor. Think of it as an investment. Our projections show a 10-fold return in 2 years. The funds would go straight to R&D, securing the deal. Without it, we might have to fold." Eleanor's fork paused mid-air. 200,000 was her entire life savings, the nest egg she'd built after Tom's death, squirreled away in low-risk bonds, CDs, and a small stock portfolio. It was her security blanket, the buffer against medical bills or unexpected repairs. "That's everything I have," she said quietly. "What if the deal falls through?" Michael reached across the table, his hand warm on hers. It won't, Mom. Lila's run the numbers a dozen times. She's the best at this. We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate and sure. Lila leaned in, her voice reassuring. I've overseen every penny. The contract is in final negotiations. Your expertise could even help. Maybe consult on our books if you're interested. This is family helping family. Eleanor felt a pull in her chest. She had sacrificed for Michael, working extra hours to pay for his tuition, skipping vacations to save. Saying no felt like abandoning him. Send me the documents. I'll review them. That night, after they left, Eleanor sat at her kitchen table under the warm glow of the pendant light. The rain had turned to a storm, wind rattling the windows. She opened her laptop and downloaded the attachments: balance sheets, cash flow statements, investor decks. The numbers looked solid, revenue projections climbing steeply after the contract. But something nagged at her. The consulting fees line was unusually high, and there were vague entries for strategic partnerships. She made notes, her pen scratching the paper like an old habit. The next morning, her niece Sophia dropped by unannounced. Sophia was 17, the daughter of Eleanor's late sister, Karen, from her second marriage. Karen had died in a car accident when Sophia was 5, and Eleanor had stepped in as a surrogate aunt, helping with school supplies and advice. Sophia lived with her father in nearby Ballard and was interning at the Seattle Times, dreaming of investigative journalism. She burst through the door, shaking rain from her umbrella, her curly hair frizzy from the humidity. Aunt Ellie, I was in the neighborhood. Dad says hi. He's buried in work. Eleanor hugged her, smelling the fresh scent of teenage shampoo. Come in, sweetheart. Tea? Over chamomile. Eleanor mentioned the investment casually. Sophia's eyes widened. 200 grand? That's your whole savings. At the Times, we're covering a story on startup fraud, embezzlement, fake deals. Make sure you vet it thoroughly. Eleanor chuckled. I'm an accountant, remember? I'll spot any red flags. Sophia sipped her tea, her expression serious. Still, if you want, I can poke around. My internship has me learning digital tools, email traces, public records. No need to trouble yourself, Eleanor said, but Sophia's words lingered like an unchecked box on her spreadsheet. Over the next week, Eleanor delved deeper. She called her old colleague, a financial advisor, who reviewed the documents. Looks legit, but startups are risky. Trust your gut. Eleanor visited Innovatech's office in a sleek high-rise in downtown Seattle. The space was buzzing, open desks with young engineers typing furiously, whiteboards covered in algorithms, the air humming with espresso machines and ambition. Michael greeted her with a tour. This is where the magic happens, Mom. Lila joined them in the conference room, projecting charts on a large screen. See here? Your investment covers 6 months of runway. The defense contract is worth millions. Eleanor asked pointed questions. What about these consulting fees? They're 20% of expenses. Lila didn't flinch. Necessary for expert advice on AI compliance. All documented. Satisfied, for now, Eleanor signed preliminary agreements, committing to transfer the funds once the contract was finalized. As she left, the rain-slicked streets reflecting neon lights, she felt a mix of excitement and unease. Meanwhile, Sophia couldn't shake her suspicion. At the Times, she'd learned basic cyber sleuthing, using open-source tools to check company filings, tracing IP addresses. That weekend, Michael and Lila asked her to house-sit while they attended a tech conference in San Francisco. "Just feed the cat and water the plants," Michael said. Sophia agreed, arriving at their modern condo in Capitol Hill with her backpack full of notebooks. The place was impeccable. Glass tables, minimalist art, views of the Space Needle shrouded in mist. While the cat purred around her legs, Sophia noticed Lila's laptop on the kitchen counter, screensaver flickering. Curiosity gnawed at her. She shouldn't snoop, but Aunt Ellie's savings were on the line. She woke the laptop, no password, surprisingly careless for a CFO. An email inbox was open, threads with subject lines like transfer update and offshore protocol. One message caught her eye, confirming reroute to Cayman account. Hayes Funds will seal it. Heart pounding, Sophia plugged in a USB drive and copied the financials folder. She felt guilty, but this was for family. Back home, she booted up her own laptop in her cluttered room, posters of Woodward and Bernstein on the walls. The files were partially encrypted, but Sophia used a free tool from her internship to crack the basics. A PDF bank statement emerged. Inflows from investors matching Innovatech's reports, but outflows to Global Consulting Ltd. In the Caymans, hundreds of thousands, labeled vaguely. Digging deeper, she found an email archive. With a simple password cracker, Lila used Innovatech 2023, sloppy. Messages poured out. Lila to an unknown recipient. The old lady's investment is incoming. Once it's in, liquidate assets and transfer. We'll split the profits, your cut for the fake contract setup. Sophia's blood ran cold. The defense contract was a scam. Leela was embezzling, using the startup as a front to launder money. She cross-checked with public records. Global Consulting was a shell company linked to offshore fraud rings. Sophia recorded everything, backing up files to the cloud. She needed more, irrefutable proof. She called her mentor at the Times. "This is huge, Soph. But be careful, it's family. Get audio or video if possible." Sophia remembered seeing a voice memo app on the laptop copy. There it was, a recording of Lila. Michael's blind to the books. "After Eleanor's money, we cash out. The Cayman account is ready. $500,000 easy. Proof. But confronting them? Sophia debated all night, rain tapping her window like accusatory fingers. Eleanor, meanwhile, prepared for the final signing. The contract was allegedly days away. She transferred small amounts to test, her bank app confirming. But sleep evaded her. Dreams of red ink and falling numbers plagued her. The day arrived, a stormy Monday. Eleanor drove downtown, wipers slashing through sheets of rain. The boardroom was glass-walled, overlooking the choppy sound. Michael hugged her. "You're saving us, Mom." Lila handed the contract, pen ready. "Sign here, and the wire transfer initiates." Eleanor's hand hovered, a lifetime of caution screaming. Then the door burst open, Sophia rushing in, laptop clutched, hair dripping. "Stop! Aunt Ellie, don't sign! It's a scam!" Security stirred, but Michael waved them off. "Soph, what's going on?" Sophia slammed her laptop on the table, cables flying as she projected the screen. Lila's stealing. "Look, emails, bank statements, voice memos. She's funneling money offshore, using the startup to launder. The contract is fake." Lila's face blanched. "This is outrageous. She's a teenager playing hacker. Those are fabricated." But Eleanor, peering at the screen, saw the truth. Discrepancies she'd ignored, now glaring. "Explain the Cayman transfers, Lila. And this email about the old lady's money?" Michael staggered back. "Lila, tell me it's not true." Lila faltered, then lashed out. "It's for us." The company was failing. "This way, We start over with clean funds. You were too trusting, Michael. The room spun. Eleanor felt betrayal, like a physical blow. You used my son. My family. Security called the police. As sirens approached, Lila was detained. The investigation revealed the full scheme. Lila partnered with a fraudster, inflating expenses, siphoning funds. The contract was forged documents. In the weeks that followed, Innovatech teetered, but survived with new investors. Michael filed for divorce, leaning on Eleanor for support. Sophia's evidence led to an article in the Times, launching her career. Eleanor, savings intact, reflected on trust. Numbers never lied, but people could. Justice, though painful, mended what betrayal broke.